In this lesson, let's continue to refine our female's face. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to experiment here by removing a little bit more of the brow ridge. I'm not going to necessarily keep this change, but I was looking to soften it up a little bit. But she ended up losing a little bit too much of her brow, so I'm going to build it back up. In fact, I think undoing is a little bit better. So I'm going to smooth it in a different way. I'm going to use the Alt and the clay brush to sort of cut it back a bit. Just softening it. Smoothing out the top of the head there. And now I'm looking for things to fix. The biggest thing that I need to fix from the side is the profile of the face. As you can see, I'm pulling the mouth and the chin back to create a diagonal line that goes from the chin to the nose. It's a very important line, and it's what makes feminine faces look more feminine. Now, look at the thickness of the neck, and look at how much better it looks now that I've done these simple tweaks of just straightening them down. It's really important to do that, especially for the side view. I'm moving up the clavicles just a little bit, because that's going to allow us to smooth everything down later on. And in this lesson, we're mostly going to be working on other areas that are not necessarily the face, just to get us the whole package. You have to remember that it's not just the face. The thickness of the neck matters, the shape of the neck, the back muscles coming in on the bust. It's all important to keep in mind. The neck muscles as well, on women they tend to be a lot more pronounced because they have less muscle mass. It's just how it is, There's nothing that can be done about it. So you just pull it out like I did with the standard brush and make sure to smooth it back down, because those muscles do not show up unless you're really turning your head, because they're supposed to allow you to do that. A few tweaks looking at the 3/4 views, as you can see. It's good to have a bit of reference next to you, things that you like, people that you consider attractive, to help guide you to making your model look the way you want it to. A couple of tweaks to the nose, but I didn't like those. Still trying to push this back, and you can see how big of a difference it actually makes. I'm going to move the ear closer to the face. That's going to make a difference too from the profile view. So remember, all those things that we talked about in the first videos are being applied now to really great success. So it really proves, I hope, to you that this is a very strong and good workflow for you to use in your sculpts. You don't necessarily have to make a male face before making every female face, but you get the point, right? Making a good male face and understanding that is the first step to making a female face, because the female face is really difficult to pin down what's going on. So I hope this serves as a good tip for you guys. Adding the node to the side of the mouth. And if anybody's wondering why I haven't mentioned the hair at all, since we're not really talking about sculpting hair in this tutorial, I just added a really simple mohawk, and since it's sort of let's say a haircut that could be worn by both genders without too much trouble, even though it may give her a little bit more of a boyish look, it still works. It's not, unheard of. So it was really simple. It was just a sphere, dynameshed, and then played with it. At this point, you guys should be fairly familiar with that process. Again, going up in subdivisions to add a little bit more detail. Be careful not to add anything that's too strong. Remember that feminine faces need to be softer. So if you're having trouble with that, you're probably adding too much detail, or you're cutting in things too strong. So make sure you reduce that. Still got a ways to go, but she's looking a lot better. I'm tweaking the shape of the zygomatic now. Smoothing the top of the head. I'm going to select the hair here and just going to dig in those pieces that sort of got out of hand there. Continuing to use the move tool to tweak the shape of the neck. I end up not really liking how it's connecting, so I'm going to rebuild this bottom area now. Adding the clavicles. Make sure to not make it too strong. You don't want it to be the focus of your piece, but you know it's important. And then add some volume underneath there, sort of where the breasts would start appearing. Smoothing it out. Nothing fancy here, just basic stuff on the body. And then I'm pushing down the neck to give it that nice straight line. It's going to make it look a lot better, I feel. And then on the chin itself, I'm not quite happy with it. So I'm going to push it in as well as push the nose in right now. I leave it straight for a second there, but I really like the inward curve. That's a really good trait to make your model look a lot more feminine. But you can make it straight, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Still looks good. I'm going to smooth out the eyes. As you saw, that area was a little bit too much. And then continuing to just tweak the shape, move it around, and see what I'm doing. Going to inflate the eyelids again, and then trim dynamic on top of them. Same trick as always. Pulling with the damn standard brush now, smoothing it out, cutting in again. Really effective tools. And simple too, right? No complexity here. I've used what, maybe 4 brushes on the course of this model. Just so that you see that there's no, you know, everybody keeps wondering, you know, you see it a lot. People asking about, oh, can you share your brushes, you know, for 2D artists and things like that. Or ZBrush, or do you have any special settings in your brushes? And that's never the case. It's just a question of honing your eye. And you'll get there eventually. Just keep at it. I hope that by showing you the workflow like this, it demystifies a lot of the issues that you might run into. It's not impossible to make a female face. It's not difficult. It's just you got to know the proper steps to take, right? You need to know the structure before you attempt it. Because you're using the same structure, but it's simplified, it's softer, it's less specific, right? So it's important for you to know what you're doing. And again, I'm just smoothing everything out now and continuing to work. You see, we've made a lot of progress at this point. She's looking really nice, especially from this side. Remember that long hair really makes a difference too. I'll show you that in a couple lessons, but don't neglect long hair making your character look a lot more feminine. So keep that in mind. In any case, this about covers it for this lesson. I hope you guys learned some tips here, some tips and tricks. Got a better hang of what it is that I'm doing. As you can see, it's just refinement. There is nothing new. I do think these lips are a little bit too small, so I'm going to tweak that really soon. But for now, I'm going to leave you guys here, and I will see you definitely in the next lesson.